Ito. So just to start off, as some of you know who've been at other screenings, we do have microphones on either side of the cinema. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll bring you a microphone. I see one here in the front.
Ms. Ito, thank you so much for a great film. My question is, how did the doorman finally decide to come forward?
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited to be in this beautiful place, and today is very special. My dear producer, Eric Nieri, is here, and also amazing person who did the camera role is here, Erica. Where are you? So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. So Doorman believed his testimony to police went to the court, and what he told me was he was waiting the court will call him out for his witness, but it never happened, and I didn't know that he existed. And then I think one day he saw the news that case is almost closing, and then he decided to contact me. So yeah, it was just a coincidence that he put attention to this case, and so that was really, really helpful for me. And personally, he's my huge hero, so yeah, thank you.
It's amazing. So,
A lovely, lovely film, and it was very, very touching. My name is Jasmine. Very nice to meet you. I guess first of all, I was wondering, like, how are you doing nowadays? Now that it's been like 9 years since the incident happened, and what has your view, like, how has your view changed, over time on this matter? And I guess also, what's your plan going forward? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm doing pretty well. I have to say I almost graduating from box wine. I've been tasting amazing Napa Valley wine.
That's really cute.
But yeah, I never see making this film was a lot of emotional jet coaster, and just like capturing the moment was easier because I got used to documenting everything, and it was all by down my close friends or producers and the camera person. So but editing was so hard. It took me 4 years, and I had to let myself cross the line as a journalist and just accept it that we can be more free in the film. But it didn't occur to me until I finished the film that wow, it was a healing process. Yeah, but during this moment, it was just like it was really hard. But I tell you, if you have any trauma or struggle, I recommend you to make a film. It really helps. Yeah. Thank you.
did you know right away that you were going? I mean, I think you were preparing your case, so you were documenting. But did you know you were going to write a book and make the film, and which came first, or were they sort of happening? I mean, it seems like they're happening together.
Yeah, well, so the first 2 years just, recording audio was because the police weren't doing their job. So it was truly like just for protection reason. And when I went public, I realized that Japanese media weren't ready to cover this issue. So I was wishing this, these journalists would help me to investigate more what was going on, where I felt like I couldn't reach. So I just, in my life, I never thought I'm gonna chase the head of police. That was scariest moment, but yeah. Since then, I'm always wearing sneaker whenever I go to Italy. So the book was truly based on investigation process, and so I decided not to put too much emotion in it, and I didn't feel fair as a journalist that I do it. So, but then, there was a moment that I need to also face myself as a survivor, and I start going back to the diaries and trying to figure out what kind of visual we have. But in the end, we had 400 hours of footage. Oh. Thank you, Erica.
No, it's remarkable. I think there was a question in the back row. Was there a microphone or here?
Thank you again for a wonderful film. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear this is better. I taught on the first Gender and Women's Studies department in Japan in the late 1990s at a place called Josai International University in Toganeshi in Chiba Prefecture. And at that time, it was fairly dangerous even for the students to have Gender and Women's Studies on their transcript. And it was hard, and fortunately I had a doctoral student who was part of the women's studies movement, the women's movement, and which had been repressed, to kind of give me more context about the history of the women's movement in Japan. So I was wondering, this is 30 years ago, almost. So fast forward to now, and I was just curious in terms of, I know how deeply seated some of these views are that you had to go up against, especially in such positions of power. But I was wondering how you saw the breakdown of the people who were for or against your case in terms of the women specifically. Did you notice any patterns? There's sort of lots of progressive also in Japan, so did it fall along political lines? How as a journalist did you think about that?
Well, I wish I had like a little hotline to speak to these women. So every time I received this email or message, I tried to get back to them because I wanted to know what's behind these thoughts. Everyone wants safety space, and then we never want to encounter with sexual violence and harassment. But still, I received these emails that then saying you're very shameful as a Japanese woman, and I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I just imagine that they had to live in such a patriarchal society, and they had to embed it with the culture. And they maybe never had a chance to speak up. So once maybe they saw me, I think it was hard for them to admit that they didn't have any opportunity. But yet, I was so shocked that when Me Too movement happened in here, I felt so alone. But then I'm thinking, oh well, and somewhere in different part of the world, there is some other people who is sharing their story and their solidarity. But I guess it's just that overall it was always stigmatized, and I think that's one of the reasons whenever I introduce my film, this time coming to this San Francisco Film Festival, other people comes up to me and says, so what's your film, what is it about? And I'm like, okay, so this is me investigating my own rape case, but it's comedy. Because I don't want to put, in a place that it's, things happen, but we have up and down, and so I feel like I was always, people try to put me in a box that I have to be a perfect victim, and I wasn't for them, but it's all about it. I love, drinking, and I love cat, and it's I love laughing, and it's of course it's all daily life, and so I want to project that. So hopefully we can bring this back to Japan, and because we don't know if we can do that yet, but I believe in it. So hopefully we can open the space to share and let them know it's okay to say these things, and okay to ask for help, and okay to say no. Thank you so much for your amazing work. We need a person like you to change our society, to teach us how important it is to learn gender. So thank you.
Thank you for the movie. Thank you very much for the movie. It was very moving. I have a question. How is your mom, dad, and sister doing? How are they doing?
If it's, I should have maybe Skype call from them. They will be so proud if they see you all. But they know that I made a film, but they haven't seen it. Surprise! But I didn't want to just send a link. I wanted them to be in a theater so they can share the emotion with other audience. So yeah, definitely I've gotta bring back to Japan. And now they're supportive. Now they are very proud of me. Yeah, that's good. So my sister started talking to me. Good. She just asked to, right, yeah, well, long story, but yeah, she shared me Taylor Swift concert ticket once, and that was the sign of her giving me. So yeah, they're good, and I think just doing this amazing tour and having amazing reaction, I think they'll be more comfortable to watch it once we bring back. So thank you so much for asking.
I think there was a hand up in the back row, but we'll go. Oh, good.
Thank you so much for making this film and documenting your life in this way. You were saying that was healing to make this film, and I'm wondering what advice you would have for journalists and filmmakers to make sure that the recounting of these stories is healing for survivors and that it's not re-traumatizing.
I think it is re-traumatizing in a way, because you gotta revisit what happened. But what's important is I think to let them know, or if you're making your own film, that you have to know that you have a power to tell the story, and no one else can tell your story for you. And that was really something that I wanted tell other people as well, that often these stories were told by someone else, and that's great too, but you can use your own voice too, and it's difficult. You have to face to yourself, but it helps. And if you're filming about or interviewing someone else, I think to listen to them and hear them from the same perspective, that what they want to tell, because that to help them to bring out their voice. And I think if we can share that mission, it's gonna go well. Thank you.
I want to comment on something. You are the bravest woman I've ever met. I've met many brave women in my life. So it's not the only one, but you are really special, and thank you for making this film.
Thank you for making this film and bring it to San Francisco. This is my second time. I saw it in Sundance early this year, and I've moved every time I see it. And so just a question about the film. Are you going to have a plan for the public release in US or anywhere else? So I have friends, she's sick today, so she cannot come, so I really want more people to see it. And as well, I'm from China, and as you mentioned in the film, there's similar cases in China happens, and all those women are standing up, and like press charges and speak up. So I'm really grateful for you to make this film and be here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks to this amazing producer, Eric. I think he's working really hard for the release for the US. I think he said he can release a good news soon, so let's see. But I just want to share you how I'm amazed of these amazing supporters, women, men in mainland China. I went there to release my book once, and my publisher didn't tell me they put the subtitle. So it says Black Box, Japan's Shame. But you know, and then I realized that my publisher said, because Shiori, feminism and Me Too is censored. So they have to package that way, but I wish they told me. But then, correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, they told me that I can say Me Too with rabbit and rice, because it sounds like male toa. Is it? Anyways, they told me, so I just kept saying rabbit rice, rabbit rice. And so you always find a way, right? You always find a way. Rice and rabbit, okay. You always find a way. Oh, thank you. And I think it's, yeah, great. So rice and rabbit. So you always find a way to communicate, to speak, to share, even though it's censored. And I think that's the beauty of film as well. It's hard to speak from where you're from, but sometimes you can, use other medium and outlet and speak about it. So I really do admire you, and thank you for the second visit. That must be a really hard watch, but I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you for the rabbit. I need a rice now.
Very briefly, first I want to say this is an excellent film. It's great filmmaking, and I believe that this is capable of real change. I think this will really have echoes that will go forward for many years. And I also want to repeat what has been already said, which is you're incredibly brave, and thank you so much for doing this. My question is, has this been shown in Japan? Where? And if so, how is it being received?
So we are still working on it. We haven't shown in Japan yet. We really hope to do so. So our little strategy is that we're gonna make a good buzz here in San Francisco and other places, and hopefully they can't ignore it and we'll bring back. But so yeah, we are planning to do like a social impact campaign and visiting all different film festivals so that we can bring back to Japan. Thank you. I will try.
There's a question here. You can go to that one. There are a lot of questions. And then one in the front here.
Well, first on a personal level, what you have done with this film and the book is really amazing, because it took your honesty and your courage, but you showed the vulnerability, you showed the full spectrum of what was really happening as a complete human being. And that is an inspiration for other people. So you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be you, and you were. And that's, I'm also thinking of the Japanese feminists I knew 50 years ago, and they're all cheering for you.
Thank you. Raise your hand and the microphone's coming. Free Palestine?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi Shiori, I'm Xingyuan and nice to meet you. And I actually read your other memoir, Swimming Naked, first, and I've been waiting to see this film in community with people, so I think this is the right moment that it happens. My question is kind of following up with like sort of how this film can make an impact. I have very mixed feelings when I see in the film that you win the case and the victory. Obviously it's very significant, and it kind of made me think of somebody else also mentioned that in China there was a very similar case, Xianzi versus Zhu Jun, where she lost the case. And I'm just wondering, like, how do you think things have changed in Japan since your lawsuit? And also, what does victory mean to you now? Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. For me, doing the facing the legal cases wasn't about winning or losing, but it was like sort of testing where our legal system are today. So I'm so sad that one of my friends' case in China didn't go the way we wished. But then that's the obviously reflection of where Chinese legal system are today. But then the thing is, when I wasn't sure if I can go on with my life, that was when I had too much pressure of winning, because if we win, it could also influence other cases. So that just imagining how she felt when she had to lose, that's really, really, I'm sure it was so hard because it was such a big case. But she came to Tokyo one day and we ate good meal, so don't worry about her. Yeah, I mean, well, Japan has updated since we started making this film. Right after I spoke in 2017, finally male victim can claim the rape report. Before it was only for women who can report. And last year we updated the age of consent, which used to be 13 years old, and now it's 15. Baby step. But Japan didn't change the rape law for 110 years, so I guess for them it's big. But then the biggest problem is that we don't have consent in our law yet. So if it's not about the consent, it's you still have to figure out how to then legally fight these criminal cases. So I really hope this film can influence that, and hopefully, yeah, we'll speed up the update. But so winning, losing doesn't, for me, it wasn't the goal, but I'm happy because we had a great footage here now. It's just the process of seeing where we are today, I believe. Yeah, thank you.
What would the impact have been if you did not win your civil case? And I don't know if the jury was unanimous, but did any of the jurors speak out afterwards? And then I also want to recommend a novel from, I think it was written in the 90s, called Guilt by Association by Susan Sloan. It's an incredible book. It's written as a mystery, but she's raped as a college student, being walked home by a Harvard student, and it talks throughout her life how this has impacted her entire life.
Thank you. Yeah. Wait, I already forgot the name of the book. What was the name of the book?
Guilt by Association.
Okay.
Susan Sloan.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll read that. Well, yeah. What would happen? Yeah, would you come to see the film if I still lost this case?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. But I think the winning this case really influenced that the case came afterwards. It was, because it was on record. So I think the the judges who went through these cases learned that, okay, maybe next similar case we can go this path. So that was big. Yeah, but again, if our law wouldn't update about the consent, it would be still really hard. The hardest part is we have like 99% of prosecution rate, so that's why they don't want to take the case. The prosecutor don't want to take the case, and I think that was one of the reasons why the police, the investigator, were saying no, because they were kind of pressured if they don't see it, that there's enough evidence, which is so hard for these crimes, they can file it officially or send it to prosecutors. So but thank you so much for saying the positive reaction, even I lost. You're gonna be here, that's good to know.
That's unfortunately all the time we have today, but I just want to thank you for a really amazing work, and best of luck in all your future projects and the release of this film.